Good evening. This is the Lion of Legend, and welcome to 14 Days with You. We're going to be dealing with another yandere boyfriend. At least I'm pretty sure we are. Enable streamer mode. This will disable all sexual content and limit the use of strong language. It will not change the overall dark themes. Well, you all know how I roll. What would you like to be called? I am Lion. Pronouns, I'm a he, him. Do you want to enable 18+ scenes? Absolutely. How would you describe your bust? I have a chest, masculine body, and yeah, okay. And do I have to do anything else? Okay. And this must be save. Gotcha, alright. Let's continue. Lion, huh? I see. I can't wait to finally meet you, Angel. And in other news, the remains of yet another body has been pulled out from Lake Blue Moss, making it a total of 4 unidentifiable victims this past year. Authorities believe that... Stifling a groan with the rim of my coffee cup, I fish around for the remote lodged between the cushions and turn off the TV. I wasn't about to let some morbid headline damper the start of my cheerful morning, especially considering how today was going to be my first day at work after finally getting that hard-earned promotion. I mean, sure, stacking and sorting through books at a library might not have been my dream job, or even my first choice of places to work after moving back. But the pay was nice, my coworkers were friendly, and the building was located within the perfect walking distance from my apartments. There was even this adorable little bakery along the way that served the best shortcakes and croissants known to man, and the manager there always loved to hand out small freebies whenever I stopped by. It still beats living in the city, though. Honestly, I wasn't even sure why I left my hometown in the first place. The fast-paced, hustle and bustle lifestyle of the city just wasn't what I was longing for whenever I stared out of my window on sleepless nights, and the people there were always rude and indignant. It was nothing like Cortland Bay, where everyone felt like a close-knit family, and the air smelled like the sea rather than pollution. And sure, the local crime rate might be getting out of hand as of late, and there might be fewer things for me to do here. But my new job keeps me busy, and I prefer spending time alone at the beach over visiting shady bars with people I barely considered friends. In fact, setting my mug onto the table, I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. A notification from Moth, my online friend, pops up, so I tap on the screen to read their message. What greets me is an adorable sticker of some anime character giving a thumbs up, as well as a short message that says, "Good luck today," underneath. Moth had always been adamant about showing their endless support for me, even after 5 years of friendship, cursed memes, and late-night video calls. And even though I would never admit it out loud, I was truly grateful to have someone like them in my life. Pulling up the keyboard, I begin to type a response to their message. How will you respond? Send back a meme with zero context. Without missing a beat, I open up the image gallery with practiced fingers and send back a blurry picture of a worm in a bag of crisps with the word sexy written in glitter font. Not even 5 seconds pass before Moth quips back with a response of their own, this time sending their own cryptic meme of a frog sitting on a slice of bread. Is that butter? Before I can ask, a gray chat bubble pops up once more, indicating that Moth was still typing another message. By the way, did you see the latest AOG app? I heard Haruko got an outfit change. Spoil it for me. Did he really change his hairstyle as well? Or was it really just his sorcerer outfit? Attack on Giants, or AOG, as Moth liked to call it, is a popular anime series that we recently became obsessed with, and Haruko is one of the main characters from the show. He's a sorcerer known for his shy and airheaded demeanor, and as of late, his hairstyle had become a trending topic within the community. Now that I thought about it, what hairstyle did Haruko have in the latest episode? How am I supposed to know? His hair's long now. He grew it out? I knew there was a 1-year time skip, but dang. I'm bouncing off the walls right now. By the way, I don't mean to change the subject, but didn't you say last night that you were gonna head to work at 8 a.m.? Because it's like almost 9:30 where you are right now. Right? Or am I just dumb and got the time zones mixed up again, lol? Looking at the time displayed on my phone, I immediately let out a string of curses and leaped to my feet. Shit! Grabbing the coat that I had carelessly strewn across the back of the sofa earlier, I quickly shrug it on before making a beeline towards the front door. Before I leave, however, I spare myself one final glance in the poorly hung mirror in the hallway. Hopefully, the outfit I chose was appropriate for my job. What style did you go for? I mean, I don't really know what my job is. We'll do something trendy. Did this outfit cost me an arm and a leg to obtain? Perhaps. But hey, if my paycheck can cover it, then I should be able to wear it. Giving myself a small spin in the mirror, I admire how the eye-catching accessories move around me. But enough of that. I can check myself out another time. Hastily, I smooth out the wrinkles and pick off any stray pieces of lint from my sleeves before I finally head out the front door. And almost catch my coat on the door handle in the process. With a grumble, I tug at the fabric of my coat before slamming the door shut with a little bit too much force than necessary. Even trying to insert my key came with a bit of a struggle. I had to fight the urge to yell in frustration as I attempted to lock my door. Seriously, when will that lazy bum of a landlord do something about this? I swear I've complained about this at least 4 times this month. Oh, hey there, Lion. Looking good. My neighbor, Violet, practically beams at me when she fishes through her pockets for her own apartment key. Resting on her hip was yet another potted plant, and I found myself wondering where she was going to put it this time. I was almost entirely convinced that her whole apartment had been turned into a greenhouse at this point, considering how her balcony was practically filled to the brim with different kinds of plants, greenery, and other various kinds of flora. But I wasn't about to complain or anything. The fragrance that wafted in the wind always smelled floral and earthy, and it did well to mask the smell of smoke and burnt food whenever I tried to cook. Hey, isn't your top from that high-end brand? I didn't know we had similar taste in fashion. You'll have to let me peek inside your closet someday. I've been looking for some new inspiration lately. Especially with winter right around the corner. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Oh. But back to you. Her voice pulls me away from my thoughts, and I notice how the growing smile on her face doesn't seem to falter. I wonder what the triangle symbol does. Huh. Oh, stop. Okay, this is like my social media and stuff. Okay. My username. I will just be... TheLionofLegend. Would you like to update your status? Happy New Year. Alright. Wow, Violet sure was extra chirpy this morning. I wonder if she let me borrow some of that energy. In response, I shoot my neighbor a grin of my own, and it was apparently enough to brighten her mood even more than it was already. How will you respond? Is that another plant? Oh, yeah, this is Charlie. I'm thinking of putting her next to Whitney. Great. She names her plants. Oh, I almost forgot. I've been meaning to ask you this, but when were you going to tell me that you were seeing someone? I am? Huh? A knowing look pulls at her features as Violet continues to fiddle with the lock on her door. What are you talking about? Come on, don't act like you didn't just have a guy over last night. I saw him leaving when I took Kathy out for a walk. How do you know we weren't like, I don't know, playing Smash Bros? I'd be more worried about my neighbor taking her plants, named plants, out on a walk at night. But the thought of someone leaving my apartment seemed to set off way more alarm bells. Oh. I give Violet a concerned look, and she picks up on it almost immediately. You don't remember? Don't tell me you were drunk or something. With a huff, she gives up on trying to unlock her door. It seemed as though we both shared the same problem with our apartment locks, and places her potted plants on the ground before slowly making her way towards me. Tall guy? Wearing a dark slasher hoodie? Probably into either alt-fashion or bondage with the crazy amount of belts and loops wrapped around his leg. Ring any bells? No. Last night I was just catching up on some TV shows and talking with my friend. No one came here. Even if they did, I would have heard them. My place isn't really that big anyway. Really? But I was so sure it was your door. A hand rests on her cheek in a thinking manner before she pounced up at me, seemingly giving in. For now. Well, alright then. Maybe it was somebody else's apartment. I mean, it's always so dark in these hallways at night. Honestly, what is our landlord doing? Would you mind if I check in with security downstairs later? It'd give me some peace of mind. Yeah, that's fine. Alright then. Thank you, Lion. Welp, I got some plants to water and some MMOs to raid in, so... Violet lets out one last huff before she picks up her plant. What did she name this one again? And goes back to unlocking her door. Good talk, I guess. Even if it was kinda awkward, hehe. Yeah, sure. See you later, V. Slipping past my neighbor and into the cramped hallway, I quickly make for the stairs. When will they fix that broken elevator? And break into a slight jog. Thankfully, the weather was rather cool today, and the shoes I chose weren't going to leave me with blisters by the time I reached the library. The smell of old paper, coffee, and soft incense floods my senses as I step through the library's glass doors. The melodic chimes alert the woman at the reception desk of my arrival, and I watch as she tucks a strand of stray blonde hair behind her ear as she turns around to greet me. Good morning, Eleanor. Oh. She looks surprised for some reason, before her expression morphs into a soft smile, and she beckons me closer with a nod of her head. Eleanor is one of my coworkers here at Cortland Bay Library, and one of the very few people here who actually gets the work done. And although she's notorious for being rather scatterbrained, She more than makes up for it with her caring and doting attitude towards everyone. But her nurturing personality can get rather overbearing at times, and I often find myself having to step away to get some breathing room. Nevertheless, she's charming to work with, and I appreciate her always looking out for me. After all, who knows what my sleeping schedule would have looked like without her help. Lion, just on time. I printed out your... Wait, where did I... Her expression turns into a slight panic as she spins on her heels, and I silently watch her with amusement as she shuffles through the various books and stacks of papers lining her desk. Where did I leave it? Ah, here it is. Spinning around once more, Eleanor comes back and hands me a sheet of paper with the word schedule printed in big, bold letters. I take it from her grasp and give the sheet a once-over. Well, it looks like I'm going to be busy for the next few weeks, but I guess Eleanor doesn't seem to share the same disdain as me, judging from the playful look plastered on her face. So, how does it feel to no longer be the one in charge of stacking books all day long? Although, you'll still have to work the front desk from time to time though, unfortunately. I offer a weak smile at her words before rounding the corner and placing my bag under the desk. And as I begin to pull out some of my belongings, the front door chimes again, letting everyone know that another patron has come in. Figuring Eleanor has it all covered, I leave the customer to her as I go back to preparing everything for the day. But as I turn around to check on her, I notice that she had already finished greeting the customer and was on her way back to her own desk across from mine. As if sensing my gaze, she spins around in her office chair and flashes me a teasing grin. Looks like he's back again. Eleanor gives a soft chuckle as she inclines her head in the direction of the person she was talking about. You know, that new guy, I don't know when he started showing up here in the Bay, but he always comes in and rents out the books you recommend on the display window. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say he has a little crush on you. Especially with that outfit you've got on, it makes you look rather handsome, so I can't really fault him for staring. Because he was staring. A lot. Snorting, I push Eleanor's office chair so that she faces the other way and focus my attention back to the papers in front of me. What was with everyone today? Always smiling, gossiping about other people, and meddling in business that wasn't their own. It was bad enough that I had to deal with a potential intruder, but I doubt my deadbeat landlord was going to do anything about it. I might need to buy a stronger lock on my way home from work. Maybe even some kind of alarm system. But would the store still be open by then? All of a sudden, I get pulled backwards as Eleanor playfully wheels my chair around and leans over my shoulder to softly speak into my ear. Would you look at that? Loverboy in aisle 8 needs some help, it seems. She nods in the direction of the red light flashing above the bookshelves, signaling to the staff that someone in that row needed assistance. With a sigh, I reluctantly stand up and make my way over. I already knew for a fact that Eleanor wasn't going to help them herself, so I begrudgingly begin to make my way towards aisle 8 alone. I knew better than to glance back at her though, knowing fully well that my teasing coworker would be sporting the biggest grin on her face at my misfortune. Ducking around the corner and into the aisle, I was immediately met with a broad backside that was covered by what had to be the comfiest looking cardigan I'd ever seen. The person whom it belonged to, however, hadn't seemed to notice me yet, so I awkwardly clear my throat and absent-mindedly shift my weight from one foot to the other. Ahem. Ah. He seems to jump at the sudden noise before sheepishly turning around to face me. Immediately, I was taken aback by his soft demeanor, doe-like eyes, and imposing height. So, this was the guy who always rented out my recommended books on the display window, eh? He definitely fit the aesthetic of a cozy literature lover needing a good book. His pink hair also reminded me of Haruko, an anime character I had recently been obsessing over with Moth during our late-night video calls. In fact, even the overall cut and style appeared vaguely similar to his. But then again, this hairstyle could have been trending right now or something, and I just so happened to be the last to know about it. But now that I really had a good look at him, which proved difficult considering his towering height, the stranger also seemed to bear a near picture-perfect resemblance to the male lead from this webcomic I was reading. It was called Always With You, and it involved the main character meeting the love of his life at a... Meeting the love of his life where? At a library? As if noticing my spaced-out look, the stranger absent-mindedly scratches at his jaw while he waits for me to snap out of my thoughts. In fact, I had been so distracted that I didn't even realize that he had been muttering quietly to himself. I wasn't expecting you to show up so soon. Sorry. I hope I'm not bothering you. I was just looking for, His voice pulls me back to the present, and I hastily try to make sense of what was spilling from his cherry-tinted lips. Watching him struggle with his words would have made anyone feel bad, so I offer him a reassuring smile in return and an encouraging nod of my head. At that, he takes a steady inhale of air before trying again. I need some help. I'm looking for a specific book, you see, but... And now he's playing with the ends of his sleeves. I felt the sudden urge to reach out and stop him. Did I find the action annoying, endearing, relatable? Who knows? But instead, I held back and waited for him to find the words to speak. But, wow, even his mannerisms were eerily similar to Haruko's. The endearing awkwardness and sleeve-tucking gave me a sense of déjà vu, and it honestly felt like he walked straight out of the anime and into this very library. Man, Moth is gonna freak when I tell them about this later. The stranger in front of me takes in another shaky inhale before he tries to speak once more, this time with a lot more confidence in his tone and a fire in his eye. Do you have any books on native flora? The best I've found are on generic wildlife, but nothing about Corlin Bay's plants. Or maybe I'm just in the wrong aisle. He was looking for a book about the native flora? Perhaps I should introduce him to Violet. Chuckling to myself at the thought, I stepped closer to the tall man and began scanning the contents of the shelf beside him. He almost seems to flinch at the sudden closeness between us, but showed no sign of moving away. In fact, he seemed to almost lean closer and incline his head towards mine. And had I not been too preoccupied with finding that book, I would have noticed how his breath hitches in his throat as my scent floods his senses. No, you're definitely in the right aisle. Those kinds of books are just more hidden, I guess. I step past him this time and make my way over to the lower parts of the shelves. Absent-mindedly, I run a finger against the spines of each book until I come into contact with one book in particular. Then, bending over slightly, I pull the book from the shelf and give the cover a once-over before offering it to the man behind me. Is this what you're looking for? Too preoccupied with the misplaced book on the bookshelf, who brings cookbooks to the nature aisle? I barely notice how his blue eyes trail across my form before landing on the book held out in my outstretched hand. Was it just me, or did he have a certain glint in his eyes? Was this book really that interesting? Or perhaps this tall stranger was just really into nature? Well, not that it mattered, because he was already taking a tentative step forward and revealing more of his hands from the depths of his long sleeves. With shaky fingers, I watch as the stranger reaches out and takes it from my grasp. He flips through a few pages to take in its contents before finally settling on the book with an affirmative nod. Yes, this was exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. I'm glad. You're like an angel sent down from heaven or something. You're so helpful. Kind, too. What? What? Oh, I didn't... Did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. This must have been so weird. I'm so sorry. He looked as though he was about to cry now, so I hastily threw up my hands in a comforting manner and shot him a reassuring smile. Hey, it's fine. No need to freak out. I just wasn't expecting someone to say that about me is all. Really? Well, I think it's true for what it's worth. You really are like an angel. Thanks? Figuring that was my cue to leave before things got awkward, I gave him one last friendly smile and subtly glanced back toward the front desk. But the eccentric man showed no signs of moving. Instead, he just looked down at me expectantly. Did he want to continue the conversation? It seemed unlikely as he didn't say anything. He simply stared at me. Awkwardly, I clear my throat for what had to be the millionth time today and gesture vaguely to the reception desk behind me. Well, if you don't need any more help, I should... This is just getting weird now. Should I even attempt to continue this conversation or just leave? I mean, it would seem rude to just walk away abruptly, especially considering how he's, apparently, a regular patron in the library I worked at. But he wasn't making much of an effort either, so what should I do? How will you respond? I gotta get back to work, so bye. I should probably head back to the front desk now. Sorry, but I can't be away from it for too long, unless I want to get fired or something. Wait, He seems almost hesitant for a moment before his hand shoots out. Most of it was covered by the sleeve of his cardigan, but it was close enough to my line of sight that I could make out the faint cuts and marks lining his fingers. Were those burn marks? My name is Ren. It was nice to meet you, and thank you for the help. I'm definitely wondering about, since they specifically brought up the burn marks, I wonder what's under this person's, turtleneck up here. Oh? Was he introducing himself? In that case, I take his outstretched hand and give it a gentle shake. His breath seems to catch in his throat at the contact, but he disguises it by clearing his throat awkwardly. I'm Lion. It's nice to meet you too, but I really do need to go back and... Say, are you busy later? I'd love to thank you for helping me find this book. Seriously, what was up with this guy? One minute he's shy, and the next he's bold. It was almost like he was putting up several fronts to see which one I responded to better. Actually, I'll be busy this afternoon. I need to buy a new lock for my apartment. A new lock? That doesn't sound good. Can I ask why? I guess it wouldn't hurt to tell him. I mean, what was he going to do? Personally show up at my doorstep and test the new lock himself? Apparently, someone broke into my apartment last night, and I didn't notice. I don't think they stole anything, but still, it's creepy. I figured it's better to be safe than sorry, you know? Yeah, but it sounds like instead of a lock, you just need to jump the scumbag when they least expect it and beat him up to teach them a lesson. Stay up all night if you have to. Really get the edge on them. I couldn't help but let out a genuine chuckle at his suggestion, If I had to choose, then this would have to be the side of him that I preferred. He seemed at ease, and his words weren't as forced or awkward. But questionable. Yeah, and who's gonna be the one to beat up the guy at 3 a.m.? Because last I checked, I'm not really the type to go around throwing punches at people I don't know, and definitely not before the sun is up and shining. I could do it for you. You? But I mean, we don't even know each other that well, and... That's fine. I could tell you all about myself on the walk there. My whole life story and everything. Where I was born, the school I went to, how many cute librarians I've met. I'm sorry. I'm taking a break from the script right now for a second. This is like... No. This might be like... Not even Soul gave me red flags this fast, okay? We gotta go. It's time to leave. Nope, absolutely not. Which happens to be one so far. Oh boy. You know, this wouldn't be a bad way to flirt, I think, if it wasn't including the whole I'm gonna tell you about my entire life thing. Before I could even comment on his sudden confidence, Ren seems to pick up on my discomfort at his choice of words, as if he could hear me speaking through my microphone, if it even was discomfort that I was feeling, and hastily backtracks. Hey, or not. I was just messing around. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. There it was again. That subtle shift in his personality. But, now that he mentioned it, would it really hurt to invite him to my place for the night? Oh my god. Yo, who is my protagonist right now? Whom am I playing as? Oh my goodness, there's no way we're contemplating this. You've got to be kidding me. He definitely looks like he could handle himself in a fight, his contrasting outfit aside, so maybe it wasn't so bad of an idea. Yo, this is just getting worse and worse by the second. How will you respond? I'm not inviting him over. Y'all must be crazy if you think I'm gonna invite this guy over. There's no way. We're going to be responsible human beings for today. But if I see evidence that inviting him over is going to change how this story occurs, we will make bad decisions later. Today is not that day. Not today. Sorry, I just don't know you well enough for that. No, I totally get it. I don't know why I suggested that in the first place. This could have been the guy that broke in. Great. Now it's back to being awkward again. Well, anyway... Where is he? Lion? Ah. There you are. Someone at the front desk is looking for you, and... Oh, sorry, are you busy right now? I can... Impeccable timing as always, Eleanor, because you definitely just pissed this dude off. Look at his face. No, it's fine. I think everything is already handled here, right? I give the two of them a soft smile before making my way towards the reception desk. But as I pass by Eleanor, I gently clasp a hand on her shoulder and shoot her a playful look of my own. If you need more help, I'm sure Eleanor here can assist you. She loves being helpful to others, right? And as I turn to leave, I barely miss the way Ren's eyes zone in on my hand resting on Eleanor's shoulder. Hours seem to pass by in a blur, and soon enough, I find myself resting up in the employees' lounge. My mind drifts back to the guy from earlier, and I couldn't help but wonder what happened to him afterwards. Did he rent out the book I offered? What about my recommended novel of the week? Ren surely was strange, to say the least, but I had to admit that he did seem kind of cute with his oversized cardigan and timid demeanor. He still gave me off-putting vibes though, especially with his ever-changing personality. And if I had to be completely honest, that shy and timid persona that he displayed felt rather forced on me. It was almost as if he saw it on TV or something and wanted to try it out himself, and I just happened to be one of his first victims. But who was I to call him out for it? That was his business if he wanted to act all shy and demure. Lion, is everything all right? It's not often I find you here at this time. Conan, my boss, startles me as he suddenly appears in the entranceway. Everyone saw him as some kind of blessing to this institution, because the moment he showed up, all forms of trouble seemed to disappear overnight. Those low-life teens started causing chaos elsewhere, and the rumored gangs became few and far between. At first, I thought that he might have been linked with these criminals because of his intimidating gaze and facial scars. But then I got to know him better, and found out that he had a massive soft spot for those dear to him. Though, much like Eleanor, Conan felt more like a father figure with how much he fretted over his staff and their well-being. I mean, he literally installed a new air conditioner and water dispenser last week because one of his employees fainted due to heat stroke. It wasn't anything too major, but it was nice to know that our boss was considerate enough about the people he hired. I doubt I could say the same about my old job in the city. Conan was also nice to chat whenever I went on my breaks, and would always encourage me to take as much time as I needed before I returned to my desk. But after realizing that I had, once again, been spacing out, I pulled myself away from my thoughts and turned to offer my boss an acknowledging smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Just taking a short break. I'll be back out there soon. Take as long as you need. Don't overwork yourself. He seems hesitant to leave, if the way he was shifting from one foot to the other was any indication. He shoots me a concerned look before opening his mouth, only to close it once more in contemplation. Have you seen Eleanor? I asked her to come see me regarding the unsorted novels in the storeroom, but she's yet to show up. Eleanor? Last I saw her, she was talking to one of our patrons in aisle 8. Maybe she's still there. I'll have to check again then. Thank you. And with that, he disappeared just as quietly as he came. But that was odd. It wasn't like Eleanor to suddenly go missing. Was she still occupied with Ren? It had been a while, so I figured she would have finished helping him and left by now. Oh well, I'm sure she'll turn up sooner or later. Ren didn't seem much like a talkative person anyway. Geez, why do my thoughts keep returning to that eccentric man? Deciding that I wasn't going to waste my time thinking about any more pink-haired guys, my beloved Haruko aside, I get up from the lounge and meander my way back towards the front desk again. But once I arrive, I immediately notice that my chatty coworker was still nowhere to be found. It was just like my boss had said. Eleanor wasn't anywhere to be seen, and it wasn't like her to leave the reception desk unattended for so long. Maybe she managed to knock over a pile of books again and was busy cleaning it up. It certainly wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary for her. Well, whatever. I'm sure she'll turn up again soon. The impact from me plopping down into my office chair causes some of the papers around me to rustle, and a bright, pink sticky note fluttering around captures my attention. Assuming it was left here by Eleanor, I peeled the folded note off my computer screen and read it. You can throw this away if you want. Unfolding it read the following. That stuttering guy from aisle 8. Did Ren leave this note? And was this his number? I had to admit, he really was a persistent fellow. And before I could allow Eleanor the chance to manifest behind me and to tease me to kingdom come, I pocket the notes and go back to sorting through the stack of returned books left on the desk. While walking home from work, I couldn't shake off the feeling of someone watching me from behind. Yet, every time I turned around, no one was there. It felt like a pair of eyes were on me and watching my every move, which was strange, considering how I'd never noticed this when I first started walking to and from my workplace. Maybe I was just imagining things, or maybe I was just too tired. Rolling my eyes at my own paranoia, I continue on my walk, but I didn't make it that far before... Lion! Ayo. I could recognize those boisterous voices anywhere. The first one belonged to Jae-hyun, a guy I had met during my early days at university. He sat next to me during the first few days of orientation, and even offered to lend me his phone charger when my battery started to run out. He's a fun guy to be around, though his extroverted and energetic personality was often hard to keep up with. But Leon, the other guy awkwardly hanging off of Jay's arm, was a different story. We'd practically known each other since we were babies, but he moved away from Cortland Bay when we were still in elementary school. I wasn't sure when he moved back to the Bay, but it was great knowing I'd be able to see him again. I just wished I could find the time to hang out with him like we used to, but I was always busy with work, and he was always busy playing volleyball and taking care of his sick mother in the hospital. Before I knew it, I was being pulled out of my thoughts by Jay's bubbly laughter. Hey, still with us? Hey, Lion. Finally finished with work. We were just about to head over to Club Shoreline. Do you want to come? I'm sure Leon wouldn't mind paying for you as well. Oi, I don't mind paying for him, but who said anything about paying for you? I did just now. Thanks, Leon. You're the best. I don't miss the way Leon rolls his eyes at Jay's antics before settling his gaze on me once more. Do you want to tag along? I really don't mind paying if you do. Sorry guys, as much as I'd love to, I'm kinda drained from work. Maybe another time though. Hey, no worries, Darl. Just make sure you take it easy when you get back home, yeah? He shoots me a considerate smile before throwing an arm over Jay's shoulder. Well then, if you'll excuse us, I gotta find a way to get this knucklehead to cover his own entry fees. We can all catch up another time, okay? I watch as they both throw a carefree wave over their shoulders as they both head off in the direction of the nightclub a few blocks down the street. It was nice to see them again, especially since I had been so occupied with moving back home and settling in. It didn't feel like that long, but 2 months was a long time, and I somehow couldn't find a single chance to hang out with either of them yet. Oh well, there's always next time. Putting those thoughts to rest, I start making my way back home once more. Back at home, the sounds of my microwave meal and the television filled the silence as I told Moth about my day. Like always, their webcam is pointed towards the ceiling with only half of their face in the frame, but I knew it was probably because they hadn't cleaned their room in a while. At that thought, I glance towards the growing pile of laundry in my basket and make a mental note to take care of it on my next day off. But now that I was looking at it, when did I leave it looking so messy? And since when did I leave my underwear exposed? Oh boy. Hello? Earth to Lion? You good? Sorry, what were you talking about? I was asking you about that dude from earlier. Like, I seriously can't believe he gave you his number. Yeah, I'm surprised too. Yeah, no kidding. My guy literally couldn't even stutter out a complete sentence, yet he was able to shoot a shot like that? Damn, maybe his dick is really big. Moth? What? I'm just saying. But you'll let me know, right? If it really is big. I'm hanging up on you. Okay, I'm just kidding. But for real though, did you text them back yet? No. I thought you were supposed to make them wait a day or something. I don't want to seem too eager. So you're saying you're eager? Attention everyone, he's eager as hell. And for a guy who doesn't even know how to grow a backbone. I'm not saying anything, but your neighbors will if you keep shouting like that. Yeah, okay. Look, if it were me, I'd text him back as soon as possible. Maybe even give him a call instead if his voice was as submissive and breedable as you said it was. When the hell did I say that? There is a very strong disconnect from me, the Lion of Legend, and whoever the hell I'm playing as right now. I literally never said that. Oh, okay, we didn't say that. Great. Good. Okay, we're connected again. Kind of. If that's what you want to believe. Damn it. Their laughter was contagious. Why are you still talking to me anyway? Go call up your precious little Haruko 2.0. I got some webcomics I need to catch up on anyway. Oh, speaking of webcomics, did you read the latest chapter for Always With? Alright, I'm hanging up now. See ya, Lion. With a sigh, I watched the green call button turn red. Moth had always been terrible towards my impulse control, but I adored them either way. Spinning around in my chair, I glance over at the phone charging on the nightstand and decide to listen to Moth's words after all. Plopping onto my bed, I scoop my phone up and unlock it. I navigate the Messages app easily and open up a new contact to enter Ren's details. Moments seem to pass as I blankly stare at his number on the screen, and before I can let myself stall any longer, I finally decide on what I should do. How will you respond? Oh boy. You see, I'm not necessarily against contacting Ren, but I'm a little more against it as I normally would be since Ren was so, you should let me come over and I'm going to tell you about my entire life and blah 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 blah. So... I'll call him. We'll give him a call. Just because, look, whatever. Here we go. Deciding to give Ren a call instead, I tap on his contact info and press the green button without a second thought. Silently hoping that he'd still be awake at this time, I bring my phone closer to my ear and listen to the dial tone. The hell was that? It barely rings 3 times before he picks up, and he seems almost flustered and out of breath. See, now here's the thing. Part of the reason why I decided to call him is because I have this odd suspicion that this dude is already in my damn apartment. That's where my mind is at right now, and I don't know what that sound was, but the fact that there is some knocking or something, and Ren is apparently flustered and out of breath, is a massive red flag to me right now, okay? Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think I'm crazy. Hello? This is Lion, right? How will you respond? It is, but how the hell did you know? I mean, I wasn't really expecting anyone to ring, so I kind of just assumed. Not that many people ring me anyway, haha. Sorry, did I make it weird? It's okay, don't worry about it. He's really been apologizing a lot today. I almost feel bad for him. Actually, I'm surprised you called. I honestly expected you to throw away my note, to be honest. I hope you didn't find it creepy or anything. Your workmate seemed like the type to tease you if I handed it to her instead, so I figured that leaving it on your desktop would have been the wiser choice. But then I was worried she might come back and find it before you did, so I considered putting it in your bag instead. But then I thought, I guess I'm rambling now, aren't I? Sorry. Anyway, I also wanted to know if you were free tomorrow. I still wanted to thank you for helping me find that book. Oh, was he asking me out on a date? Or was I reading too deep into his words? He must have taken my silence as confusion, however, as he immediately begins to backtrack on his words. I guess I'm asking you out on a date. We could go visit the pier, or the beach, or this cafe I know. Honestly, we could do whatever you'd like. I don't mind at all. Well, so he wanted to go out on a date. Well, it wasn't like I had anything planned for tomorrow. It was my day off after all. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Besides, I can't even remember the last time I went out with someone, let alone a date. Yeah, maybe going out on a date with him wouldn't be such a bad idea. Besides, Ren didn't seem that bad of a guy. I could even use this as an opportunity to get to know him better. He certainly seemed interesting. Sure, why not? It sounds like it'd be fun, and I haven't visited the pier in a while. You really want to go out on a date? I mean, yeah, cool. Would it be alright if I pick you up around 11 then? Yeah, sure. Wow, he seemed really eager. I hope I didn't make the wrong choice by agreeing to this. Alright then, yeah, great. He was perhaps a bit too eager. Anyway, it's getting late now, isn't it? I'm sure I've already taken up too much of your time. I'll let you go to sleep then. How will you respond? Okay, good night. You can get out of my apartment. Good night. He sounds almost chipper at the sound of my voice, but I decide against questioning it. He really was a rather eccentric person. Can I still call you tomorrow, Lion? Or, no, never mind. Good night. He hangs up before I can even respond. Placing my phone on the nightstand, I begin to slip into my bed and pull the covers over my body. A beat passes before Ren's soft, breathy voice enters my mind, and I slowly find myself getting lulled to sleep with it. So, Ren, huh? I wonder what you have planned for us tomorrow. Alright, we will save here. Waking up to the sounds of birds chirping outside and the sunlight filtering through my blinds, I groggily rub my eyes before absent-mindedly staring at the ceiling for a few moments. A lot had occurred last night, and I still needed to process most of it. But the main thing that plagued my mind was the date I had planned today with Ren, the guy I had met at the library yesterday. Reaching over my nightstand to grab my phone, I casually checked the time, only to realize that I still had a few more hours to kill. Not only that, but I also apparently received a text message from Moth at some point last night. At a glance, it appeared as though they were just ranting about the newest update for Always With You Again, though I hadn't read the latest chapter yet to know all the details. Nevertheless, I read through their wall of text and memes with avid curiosity, and even sent back a few of my own. Before I knew it, hours seemed to pass by in a blur. Glancing back at the time on my phone once more, I noticed that it went from being 8 o'clock to 10:30. 10:30? My date with Ren was supposed to be in a half an hour. I quickly let Moth know that I had to dip from the conversation before throwing my phone onto the mattress and sprinting towards the bathroom. But just as I grabbed a fresh towel and a change of clothes from my wardrobe, my phone buzzes once more. Assuming it was yet another text from Moth, I pick it up and put in my passcode. But what awaited me was a message from none other than Ren. Hi. Good morning, Angel. I hope I didn't wake you up. Wake. Gah, this is so embarrassing knowing you're a librarian. I swear I can spell, lol. Anyway, I just wanted to confirm whether or not you were still on for our date today. Because we can meet up at the beach walk if you are. It's not far from this new cafe I want to check out. Ren's messages brought a smile to my face for some reason, and I assumed it was because he seemed just as enthusiastic as I was for today. I sent back my own affirmative text, along with a smiling Haruko sticker, before going back to my bathroom and getting ready for the day. In the end, I did end up meeting Ren halfway via the boardwalk, and we decided to walk to this recently opened cafe together for lunch. It wasn't far from my apartment anyway, and I figured I could do with a bit of exercise. Turning to my side, I notice how the pink-haired man tries to not so subtly sneak side glances towards me. The arm at his side practically itches to reach out, and if I knew any better, I would have assumed he wanted to hold my hand. But instead, he simply tucks his hand into his pockets and shoots me yet another soft smile. I'm interrupting real quick because I forgot that I could go up here and see what's going on. Okay. So, wait. There's Eleanor. Was this her message the other day? I'm not me without my coffee. New episode, don't talk no violets are not blue. Oh, is this are these meters of, like, how much the characters like me? Oh, okay, alright, I'm understanding, I get it. The weather's really nice today, huh? Back to small talk, it seems. Sure is. If I had known it'd be this nice and sunny, I would have suggested spending the day at the beach instead. Yeah? Yeah. We could go for a swim, or maybe even check out the rock pools. It's been a while since I've been there. Oh, that does sound fun. Lion! At the sound of my name being called, I turn on my heels, only to find Leon running up to me with a sports bag full of what I assume to be his volleyball gear. Hey yo, Sunfish, it's good to see you out and about this early. I was just on my way to the beach to meet up with Jae-hoon and Tio. Wanna tag along? And hey, who's this? I don't think we met before, mates. The name's Leon. Lion's bestest friend in the whole wild world, yeah. I playfully roll my eyes at Leon's words and give him a slow, reluctant nod. Keep telling yourself that, but this is my friend Ren. We actually met. Sunfish? Huh? Oh, yeah. Sunfish is the cheesy nickname Leon gave me when we were kids. I don't really get it either, to be honest. So, Sunfish and Ren, was it? Nice to meet ya. I hope we can get along and become good friends too. Actually, hey, if you're both free right now, why don't we go down to the beach? I can introduce you to Jay and... Angelfish and I were about to go on a date, actually. Angelfish? A date? I don't miss the way Ren suddenly pulls my arm closer to his side, nor the way he clings onto me as though I'd suddenly disappear. You're going on dates again, Darl? Good for you. I'm glad to see that you're coming out of your shell again. Take good care of him for me, won't you, bud? What do you think I've been doing ever since you moved away? Like me, Leon barely seems to notice Ren's mumbling as he rests an arm over my shoulder and starts tugging me in the direction of the beach. Ren, on the other hand, still latches onto my arm, but doesn't seem to move. I can't believe my little sunfish is out there in the dating scene again. I feel like a proud father. Oh, please, we're basically the same age. I feel like a proud, adoptive father. Leon pretends to wipe a tear away from his eyes as he leans further into my shoulder, and it was only then that I noticed Ren wasn't following us. Turning around, I reach out to grab his hand instead, to tug him along. He immediately seems to perk up at the action and entwines his fingers with mine before falling into step. Alright, as fun as it is to catch up with my proud, adoptive father who's the same age as me, which makes things kind of weird, Ren and I do need to get going. Oh, yeah, of course. I didn't mean to take up so much of your time. He unhooks his arm from around my shoulder and inclines his head towards the beach one more time. But my offer still stands. If you want to catch up some more, I'll be down at the beach with... Oi. Speak of the devil. Much like Jay, Theodore was another friend I made in university. But if I was being honest here, I don't think he was actually enrolled in anything. He just showed up every so often to keep his attendance rate up, and to antagonize some of the students and staff. As if reading my mind, Tio practically runs into Ren with the sole purpose of sending him tumbling into the metal railing behind him. But luckily, Ren manages to catch his footing at the last second, sending Tio an annoyed scowl of his own. Aw shit, sorry about that. I'm not sure how I missed such a brightly colored children's mascot. Alright, there's no need for that here. Despite Leon's tone, Tio barely pays the shorter male any mind, seemingly far more interested in Ren instead. Let me guess, you're dressed up as Benny the Buttercup. My 4-year-old cousin would love you. Oi, knock it off, mate. What's your problem? Don't know. What's yours? I could practically feel the tension between the two grow, so I decided to step in. Maybe you should introduce each other first before you try glaring each other to death? Tio, this is Ren. He's my... well? I'm his boyfriend. Well, that was certainly one way to put it, especially without discussing it with me beforehand and asking for my opinion. At his words, I shoot Ren a confused glance, but the determined look on his face had me biting back my words. Okay then. Anyway, this is Tio. He's... How will you respond? Oh boy. You know, I was thinking Tio was probably my ex-boyfriend. So I'm gonna click that, though this guy kinda seems like a douchebag. Yeah, I don't date people outside of my tax brackets. And don't get it twisted, doll. We were never exclusive. I never even brought up the concept of dating when I was with you. Oh, that explains why you were fine with cheating on me. Wait, what? I thought you guys were just friends. What a complete asshole. Yeah, kill that guy first, Ren. Look, it's not cheating if I was never your boyfriend. Alright, why don't we change the subject? I'm sorry, you weren't my boyfriend? Then why would you ask me not to see other people? You think I'd want to share you with others and let them have what's mine? Before I can step forward and knock some sense into that idiot, Ren seems to beat me to it. He grabs the other male by the collar of his shirt, but Tio only looks on with a lazy smirk. What's your problem? Okay, enough. Look, why don't we just drop the issue? You really need to stop trying to pick fights with everyone, mate. Aw, don't get your panties in a twist. I seriously doubt Buttercup's capable of harming a fly, let alone throw a decent punch. You can drop the nickname. Nah, but I think Dollface over here should drop you instead. Besides, the nickname is kinda cute, matches your style pretty well, don't you think, Buttercup? I could see Ren's hand clench into a fist as he advances towards Tio, but thankfully Leon steps in once more. Seriously, why don't we all cool off, yeah? I think we're getting a bit too heated. Look, we're gonna head down the beach. I don't miss the way Leon sends Tio a sharp glare. Are you sure you don't want to join us, Lion? I promise to make sure that Tio stays on his best behavior. Sorry, Leo, but I've already made plans with Ren. And I seriously doubt they'll be able to get along. You know how Tio can get. Yeah, you've got a point there. Well, alright then. He leans closer to me, almost as if he didn't want the other two eavesdropping. If anything happens, I'll be in the area. Just come find me, okay? I will. Thanks, Leon. I give his arm a soft squeeze and turn my attention back to Ren. But by the way he looks at us, I can only assume that he didn't like how close I was standing to my childhood friend. Though that could have also been because Tio was still around, and honestly, I couldn't blame him. Regardless, I reach for his hand once more and tug him toward the cafe, making a point of ignoring Tio's crass words as we went along. I barely notice how Ren's mood immediately changes when my attention is back on him, and he follows along like a lost puppy. We eventually arrive at the Driftwood Cafe, and the smell of fresh pastries and brewed coffee flood my senses as it wafts through the open windows. And just as I had thought, the cafe looked as though it had only recently opened, though it didn't seem as busy or crowded as I anticipated. Pulling me from my thoughts, Ren ushers me into one of the empty tables before he goes off to make an order with a pleased look on his face. It was a bit strange how he didn't want to look at the menu first, but I chalked it up to him wanting to surprise me. He's barely gone for 5 minutes before he returns once more, taking a seat in front of me with a huff. A comfortable silence washes over us, and I watch as he absent-mindedly fiddles with the ends of his hair. Was he still concerned about what Tio said about his appearance earlier? Maybe it would be a good idea to take his mind off of it. Hey, Ren? Almost immediately, he perks up with wide eyes. How do you manage to keep your hair so fluffy? It always looks so good. Ren seems to flush instantly at my words, and he sheepishly ducks his head lower to hide his reddening cheeks. You like it? I usually just angle a blowdryer below my chin and blast the heat, and it just stays like that afterwards. Oh, so you don't need to use any products or anything? No, not really. Just when I thought he got over his timid personality, it slowly came crawling back. Was this really who he was? Ren must have taken my silence as a lack of response, seeing as he tries striking up another conversation. So, work's going good for you, huh? Finally got that promotion? Yeah, I did. I was honestly surprised when I first got my promotion, considering how I've only moved back here recently. But Eleanor has been really helpful by showing me the ropes and… Wait, how did you know I got promoted? Oh, your coworker told me all about it yesterday after you left. Eleanor, right? She seemed really proud of you. Anyway, what were you saying about her showing you the ropes? I barely noticed how he managed to change the conversation back to me, as I recounted all the times Eleanor helped me through my first week of working at the library. It eventually reached the point where it felt like I had been talking for hours, and it wasn't until something caught my eye did I finally stop. How will you respond? Yeah, look at that cute puppy. Ren glances out the window and follows my line of sight, where a small Pomeranian sat, idly chewing the laces of its owner's shoes. Yeah, that is a pretty dog, but I think you're cuter. Nothing could compare to you. Order 25. Oh, that's us. Wait right here. I'll be right back. Before I could get a word in, Ren was jumping out of his seat and meandering his way towards the kiosk. It really was a sight to behold, seeing Ren tower over most of the other customers who were waiting in line. Even the cashier herself, who seemed to be at least 6 feet tall, had to crane her neck upwards just to look at him. But before I could blink twice, Ren was already on his way back with a large tray full of delicious food. He seats himself back in his original spot with a pleased smile and begins to lay out the dishes in front of me. Oh, this is... How will you respond? We'll say a delicious-looking scone. A delicious-looking scone sits next to my beverage, and I almost heard my stomach rumble at the sight. How did Ren know that this was my favorite thing to order? Granted, it wasn't like I've been to the Driftwood Cafe before, but this was usually what I'd order at any other cafe. It was honestly like it could read my mind. And what was even more mind-boggling was that he didn't even need to look at the menu beforehand. It was like he just knew. Don't forget your drink. Ren shoots me another gentle smile of his before placing my drink before me. No way. The drink he placed in front of me, it was... How will you respond? A fruity smoothie. The inviting aroma of fruit floods my senses, and that alone was what assured me that Ren ordered my favorite smoothie. Just like the ones I usually bring on my way to work sometimes. I hope this is okay. Unfortunately, this cafe doesn't really have much to offer, judging from the menu I saw online. Ah, so that's how he knew what to order. I even tried asking for napkins earlier, but I don't think they heard me. Maybe I should try again. I almost felt bad for him, but I also felt grateful for ordering me something that I normally eat at a cafe. Ren makes sure that everything is on the table before putting the tray aside, and it was then when I noticed what he'd ordered himself. On his plate sat a strawberry sweet roll, alongside a cup of coffee that was an alarming shade of black. He seems to pick up on my inquisitive stare, if the innocent tilt of his head was anything to go by. Do you want my meal instead? We can swap if you want. I don't mind. This was supposed to be a date, right? Deciding to tease him a little, I shoot Ren a sly grin. That's okay, but you could offer me a bite instead. Ren almost seems to combust on the spot as his cheeks turn red, and he almost chokes on his own spit. He looks down at his food before glancing back at me, only to look down once more to scoop up a bite-sized piece of his food. I watch as Ren's cheeks turn a deep shade of red while he brings his fork closer to me, and not wanting to be seen as a coward, I lean in to take a bite. His eyes widen almost immediately, and he seems hyper-focused on the way my mouth wraps around the fork before I lick my lips and let out a pleased hum. It's yummy. Try some. The pink-haired man seems to have an awkwardly long staring contest with his own fork before scooping up yet another small piece and taking a bite. Ren's cheeks are still scarlet red, and he seems almost fidgety with how his legs keeps bouncing under the table, so I decide to take pity on him and not tease him for it. With a knowing smile, I start digging into my own meal with a pleased hum. Eventually, we ended up finishing our meals and decided to do a bit of window shopping to pass the time. I had nothing else to do today, and Ren seemed insistent on spending the rest of his time with me, so I agreed. We passed by a few clothing stores, ice cream stands, surfboard rentals, and many other interesting buildings, though nothing really caught my interest. But just as I thought I'd lost all hope, one store in particular catches my eye. In one of the display windows, I spot this cute little rabbit plushie in the style of Haruko's likeness. I mean, it even came with his limited edition sorcerer outfit and everything. I couldn't believe they were selling these things here of all places, and at such a cheap price too. Ren seems to take notice of what I was not so subtly gawking at, but before we could enter the store, the cashier walks in front of the display stand and blocks our view. She drops a box of miscellaneous items at her feet and begins stocking the shelf next to the plushies before she finally notices us standing by the window. I don't miss the way her eyes widen at Ren, obviously taking an immediate liking to him, and almost shamelessly pushes a strand of hair behind her ears before giving him a small wave. Sneaking a glance at the taller man beside me, I notice how Ren wasn't even paying any attention to her, instead keeping himself busy by scratching at his jaw and kicking at the stray cobblestone rocks by his feet. But the cashier seemed adamant about getting Ren's attention, considering how she felt the need to abandon her spot by the shelves and make her way towards us. "Hi there. Welcome to Seaside Trinkets. My name is Olivia. Can I help you with anything?" "Oh, no, we're just looking around, but thanks for..." "We recently got some new beachwear merch if you're interested in checking them out." Was she seriously ignoring me? "Oh, you kind of look like someone I know. Have we met before? Maybe we went to the same school." "Me? I don't think so." "Really? I definitely would have remembered a face like yours." "Actually, now that I've got a good look at you..." I watch as she shamelessly takes in Ren's appearance before crossing her arms over her chest and leaning back. "You also remind me of one of those characters from a cartoon that's been gaining a ton of traction here." Apparently, one of the locations from that show is based on Corlin Bay's main beach. Are you talking about Attack on Giants? Is that the name of it? Then yeah. I don't really know much about those cartoons, but our company recently started selling some stuff for it to entice the tourists. Do you want to come inside and take a look? Actually, do you want my number as well? Here. You had this prepared. Hehe, of course. You always need to be ready in case any cuties walk into the store. I wouldn't want to sound like a hypocrite or anything. Ren looks at me with a shy, knowing look before he hesitantly reaches out to take the piece of paper. A hypocrite? Oh, right. Ren did leave his number on that pink sticky note yesterday. I'd almost forgotten about that. But did he really have it prepared beforehand? Admittedly, the thought was kind of endearing, though before I have the chance to dwell on it any further, Ren cuts me off by subtly handing me Olivia's number. Wait, what? He didn't want to pocket her number? Glancing up at the pink-haired man, I press him for more answers. Huh? My confusion must have been blatantly obvious, since Ren was quick to explain his intentions. With a mischievous grin, he leans closer to whisper into my ear. Maybe we could prank call her later. That'll teach her to not give her number out to strangers. Right. But isn't that what you did with me, Ren? I match his teasing smile with my own. Touché. But I haven't received any prank calls from you, though. Don't jinx it. Just as Ren lets out a puff of laughter at my joke, Olivia cuts him off. Hello? I'm still here. Oh, right. Sorry. Anyway, now that you've got my number and I've got your attention again, I think it's only fair I show you around the store. I don't do this for just anybody, you know? Ren doesn't seem to answer her initial question, nor does he seem to outright respond to her, and instead casts an inquisitive glance in my direction. It was like he was asking me for my opinion, and I can only assume it was because he knew about my interest in anime. It was thoughtful of him to do that, but I kinda wanted him to tell that rude worker off instead. Wait, did I really want him to do that? What was wrong with me? I'm sure that the cashier just took an interest in him, and there was nothing wrong with that. It's not like we were a couple anyway, but we were supposed to be on a date right now, and Ren did declare himself as my boyfriend earlier. But I just assumed he said that in order to get Tio off my back. Does that mean, was he feeling the same way as me? Was jealousy on his mind when we talked with Leon and Tio earlier? I wasn't sure how I felt about this new discovery. Lion? Huh? Do you want to go look at the items? We've still got a bit of time to kill. Here, why don't I show you the most recent stock? We haven't shown this to the general public yet, but I'm sure you'll love it. Without warning, Olivia, was that her name? Reaches out for Ren's arm and practically drags him inside the store. He lets out a surprised sound before leaning back and trying to grab hold of my own arm as well, but I was just out of his reach. There was nothing else I could do but watch as Ren helplessly gets pulled into the store. It's back here in the stock rooms. Usually we don't allow customers downstairs, but you're a real hottie, so I'll let you take a sneak peek. No, actually, I'm good. Don't worry, we won't get caught. I'm sure your boyfriend won't mind if I borrow you for a bit. I'll even throw in some of those cartoon stickers for you. Surely that'll make it worth your time. The wink she sends him felt a little excessive, and I honestly wished Ren would turn around so I could gauge his reaction. But instead, he leans in close to her face and whispers in a hushed tone that I could barely hear from my spot outside the store. If he wasn't right now, I would have down the stairs without a thought. And honestly, it's fucking tempting. From their current position, it looked as though they were having a really intimate conversation, and I felt the sudden urge to look away. Why was I getting so bothered over this? I know we aren't exactly together, but Ren shouldn't be off flirting with other people while on a date with someone else. Besides, this was exactly the type of thing Tio would do to me when we were dating. He'd go around shamelessly flirting with other people, sometimes while I was in the very same room. And what made it worse was that he'd simply laugh it off by saying that he was just messing around and that I shouldn't be getting so worked up. I honestly couldn't believe that Ren was doing the same thing to me right now. But still, there was this nagging voice at the back of my head that kept telling me not to give up on him so easily. Ren was the one who confidently stood his ground when Tio got a bit suggestive, so maybe I should do the same. Would he even mind? Before I can stop myself, my feet start to move on autopilot as I march towards the two of them and reach for Ren's sleeve. I give it a hesitant tug, and I swear I could almost feel the relief wash over his body because of it. Ren's entire demeanor seems to change in that moment, and he turns to me with a relieved smile on his soft features. I don't really have any interest in this store. Can we go somewhere else? Yeah, of course. Wait, hold on. Ren carelessly shoves Olivia's outstretched hand aside and gently places an arm over my shoulder instead. And just like that, he's already guiding me out of the store and back onto the busy street. I can hear Olivia sputter out confused sounds as she watches the two of us leave, and I suddenly felt guilty for causing a rift between them. I gotta say, and I'm trying to come off this way. The main character in this game is so naive. I don't understand how we're not seeing these red flags. But I guess that's the fun of it. No matter how many times I tried to brush it aside, I still couldn't get my mind off of what had just occurred earlier. What if Ren was interested in her? Granted, he probably shouldn't have blatantly flirted with her while on a date with me, but he wasn't exactly the most confident guy. Would he still be able to talk to her again if things didn't work out between us? No, I shouldn't be thinking like that. Peering up to gauge his expression, I noticed how he didn't really look all that upset about leaving her. If anything, he seemed rather content to be walking down the street with his fingers entwined with mine once more. I can feel him give my hand a protective squeeze as he looks down at me with his soft blue eyes, and all of my worries somehow melt away. Maybe I did make the right choice after all. It might have been selfish, but it was worth having Ren look at me with such a gentle expression. Eventually, the sun starts to set behind the ocean as Ren and I continue to walk along the beach walk. Most of the conversation was geared towards me and my interests again, but every time I tried to learn more about Ren, he only seemed to divert the conversation back to me once more. But the more I focused on this odd behavior, the more I began to pick up on his social habits as well. I learned that Ren would subtly pick at the sleeves of his cardigan whenever he got nervous, or how he'd scratch at his jaw whenever the conversation strayed down a path he didn't feel comfortable with. His little quirks told me more about himself than the dead-end conversations that only led back to me, and I was content with knowing more about him than I did yesterday. Ren no longer felt like a stranger I had met at the library, but rather someone I could consider a friend. Except friends aren't supposed to get jealous whenever they see them flirt with someone else. Jeez, what was wrong with me? It had barely been 2 days, and I was already contemplating whether or not I truly saw Ren in a romantic light. Was I going too fast? All of these thoughts were starting to get a bit overwhelming and... Angel? Hello? Huh? You're spacing out on me again. There's that look again. He keeps peering down at me with so much adoration in his eyes, and if I didn't know any better, I would think that he was already halfway in love with me. But that was a very conceited thought, and probably wasn't even true. Sorry, I was just thinking about things. Are you going to share those things with the rest of the class? He sends me a playful smile and a gentle nudge into my side, and I couldn't help but laugh. When did we become so comfortable with each other? And when did he lose his stutter? It's nothing really. Maybe a bit embarrassing, but, well, I was wondering. How do you feel? My sentence gets cut short when a drop of rain lands on my cheek. Instinctively, I look up and find myself wondering how I didn't notice those dark clouds in the sky sooner. All of a sudden, more droplets fall down, until it's all but pouring rain and forcing everyone in the area to find cover. Over here. Ren doesn't seem to pay much attention when he grabs me by the hand and pulls me underneath one of the awnings of a nearby building. He shields me from the rain with his body, and I couldn't help but feel tiny with the way his arms cage me in as he rests them against the wall. We look at each other in silence for a brief moment before erupting in laughter. Perhaps it was because of the adrenaline from all the panicked running, or the fact that Ren's hair was starting to lose its fluffiness, but I couldn't hold back from letting out a fit of giggles. This only seems to spur Ren on as well, until we're both wheezing out our lungs and gulping down air. I can't remember the last time I ran that fast. Me too. The looming sound of thunder echoes from afar, and drowns out our laughter until we're both silent once more. Once we both calm down, Ren moves me further away from the rain before casting a glance behind him. Wait here. I'll buy us an umbrella so we can get out of this rain." "But you'll get soaked." "'Tis a sacrifice I'm willing to make." I roll my eyes at his corny joke and send him off with an amused smile. He doesn't look back before he makes a mad dash out into the rain and down the street towards the closest convenience store. Though the rain only seems to get heavier the moment he leaves, and I find myself pressing even further against the wall behind me to avoid the recoil of the rain bouncing off the pavement. There wasn't much for me to do while I waited for Ren to return, aside from watching people scramble around for shelter. And just like that, the carefree sounds of laughter echoing from down the street capture my attention as I watched Leon, Tio, and Jay all run to cover like their life depended on it. Well, it seems as though their beach outing got cut short as well. Glancing back once more, I barely make out the figure of Leon using his bag as a makeshift umbrella as he ducks under one of the awnings of an ice cream stand. All while Tio and Jay trail behind at a leisurely pace, kicking and splashing water at each other in the rain. I had to look away the moment Tio started to remove his shirt, and I had an inkling that it was so he could show off. And knowing Jae-hyun, he'd follow along without a care in the world, because that's what he always does when it came to his friends. A part of me felt like calling out to the group to see if I could wait out the storm alongside them, but they all seemed to be enjoying themselves, and I didn't want to get in between that. Plus, I did promise Ren that I'd wait for him here. Even if he was taking his sweet time? Was he ever going to return? There was still no sign of him, or his comfy-looking cardigan, and I was beginning to wonder if he really did ditch me. After all, it must have been more than 15 minutes by now. What if he got caught up with something? Or what if he went back to see that cashier lady again? Her store did happen to be on the same street, but after spending the afternoon with Ren and getting to know him, I concluded that he wasn't the type of person to do such a thing. But if he was, then that would only add insult to injury, considering how Tio had done the same to me multiple times in the past. Although, if I was being honest with myself, it did seem as though they had chemistry. Especially with how she looked at him and touched his arm as though it was the most natural thing in the world. She apparently knew him as well, or at least, he looked recognizable enough. Why did that thought make my blood boil? Thankfully, the rain was there to cool me off, as well as soak the ends of my outfit and make everything feel damp and uncomfortable. Was Ren really coming back? It shouldn't take this long to buy an umbrella. How will you respond? We'll wait for Ren. Maybe something did come up. I'm sure he'll come back. And as if on cue, I spot a familiar patch of pink hair from within the misty rain, frantically sprinting with an umbrella in one hand and a bag under the other. Angel? Lion? Ah! He almost slams into me before stopping just in time, and I could tell by the way he was wheezing that he ran all the way back here without stopping. Sorry, I thought I almost lost you there for a second. It's so hard to see in this weather. Geez, Ren, what took you so long? I almost wanted to cuss him out for taking well over 20 minutes just to buy a single umbrella, but the genuinely apologetic look on his features made me hold my tongue. Sorry, I ran into your friends from earlier, which took forever for me to shake them off. And then the convenience store ended up closing early due to the sudden weather change. So then I had to go to that awful souvenir shop with that obnoxious and clingy cashier again, and he was talking a mile a minute, and I was worried he'd end up biting his tongue. Gently, I raise a hand to signal him to calm down, and his intense monologue soon comes to a halt. I'm really sorry about making you wait so long, but... Ta-da! I did manage to get an umbrella, among other things as well. He gives it a small twirl in his hands, sending droplets of water all over the place. We can start heading back home now if you want, unless you want to go somewhere specific. How will you respond? Oh boy. Where do you want to go, Ren? Well, my place isn't far. We could wait out the storm there if you'd like. I even have a heater and dryer we could use. The image of me sitting in front of a warm, cozy heater was too hard to resist, and I ended up agreeing with Ren's suggestion. Despite the heavy downpour of rain, we managed to make it to Ren's apartment complex in one piece. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said his apartment wasn't far from mine. But judging from the pristine interior and fully functioning elevator, his building seemed to be in far better shape compared to my apartment. The elevator ride could have been a little less awkward though, if it weren't for the slow ascent and tacky music. Or for the fact that Ren deemed it appropriate to shake his hair like a wet dog and get water droplets everywhere. Once the elevator doors slid open, I was immediately met with a grandiose corridor and large, spacious doors, and I found myself wondering how much it'd cost to live in a place like this. Don't look too hard at how messy my place is, okay? I wasn't expecting to have someone over today, so I didn't bother cleaning up. I'm sure it's not as bad as my place, or the entire apartment I live in, for that matter. Oh, that bad, huh? Maybe you could live with me instead. Sorry, did you say something? No. I mean, well, I was just thinking. It's a bit strange, but no one lives on this floor aside from me. I'm not really sure why, but I'm not gonna complain. I can make as much noise as I want, and no one would notice. Ren shoots me a mischievous grin, and I find myself wondering what he meant by that. Like, loud music and stuff. Movies? Yeah, something like that. He unlocks the door with some electronic card attached to his keychain, and the moment the door swings open, I let out an audible gasp. Ren doesn't seem fazed in the slightest as he flicks on the lights and walks into his own home, but I could only stand at the entrance to his foyer in shock. Yes, foyer. He had a whole damn foyer in his apartment. Was this even an apartment? Surely a penthouse would have made more sense. Holy shit, Ren. Is there something wrong? What is it? I know the decor is kind of tacky, but it came with the apartment, and I haven't found the time to do anything about it yet. I'm sorry, but are you the long-lost heir of a billionaire or something? This place is huge. And hello, is that marble? No, I get paid a lot from my job, enough to afford rent at least. You know, I don't think I've asked you this yet, but what exactly is your job? My job is, well, I guess you could say I'm a programmer. I don't know. I just take on a few jobs every so often. Nothing super fancy or anything. Nothing super fancy. Ren, you have marble flooring. Leaving the newly discovered programmer at the entrance, I curiously venture further into his apartment. Marble's a pain in the ass to clean, too. Oh, Angel, do you want some slippers? The floors can get cold, and your shoes are probably soaked, right? Turning around, I notice Ren opening a small closet and pulling out a pair of dark house slippers. He looks at me with a curious expression, but makes no effort to hand them over. Only if you want them. I'll take them, but only because they look like they're Gucci. Ren lets out a puff of laughter through his nose at my joke, but doesn't seem to deny it. Were these slippers really from a luxury brand? As I put them on, I noticed how they were in my exact size, and it made me wonder if he had bought a bunch of expensive house slippers in varying sizes. But as funny as that imagery was, How did Ren accurately guess my shoe size without seeing my feet? Here, why don't I show you to the bathroom? I'll find you something to wear in the meantime while your clothes are in the dryer. Or would you prefer a towel instead? I guess that'd make more sense. Sorry, I don't usually invite people over. Seeing his timid side resurface once more gave me the sudden urge to tease him. How will you respond? Just a towel? Nothing else? Yeah, to keep you warm instead of taking a shower? Unless you'd prefer a blanket, because I'm pretty sure I have an electric... Oh. It was as if all the gears inside his head were finally clicking together. No, I didn't mean. I meant a towel that you can wear over your clothes, not just you in a towel unless you'd want to, but that's, why would you? I'm just going to shut up now. Sorry. That wasn't what I meant at all, but his reaction was priceless nonetheless. Anyway, I'll show you to the bathroom. You can use whatever you want in there. Nothing is off limits. First, it was offering to spend the night at my place. Then it was asserting himself as my boyfriend in front of my friends. He really doesn't care about personal boundaries, huh? I was beginning to think that Ren didn't really seem to mind when it came to me invading his personal bubble as well. Though he still seemed pretty standoffish around Tio and Leon, and it took him a while to warm up to Eleanor back at the library. But it chalked it all up to him being his usual shy and eccentric self. Speaking of being shy, I still noticed how Ren didn't seem to be switching up his personality as much anymore, and I was beginning to think that he was showing me his real side. Up until now, everything felt real and genuine, and I found out that we could bounce back witty retorts between each other more easily. Though, every now and again, he might slip up and stutter, but I just assumed it was because my teasing made him flustered. So, maybe the timid side of him was genuine after all. But I'll leave some clothes for you outside, and put the plushie I bought for you in your room. Huh? Oh, yeah, thanks. Great. I was zoning out again and completely missed half of what he was saying. Something about clothes, and a plushie he bought. Was he talking about the Haruko plushie I was eyeing up earlier? I mean, he was carrying a gift bag from that souvenir shop earlier. Did he really buy me that toy? Ren, however, doesn't seem to pick up on my confusion though, and invitingly opens the bathroom door for me with a soft smile. And so, without trying to make things awkward, I quickly slip inside and lean against the door for support. Which was fortunate for me, because one sweep of the bathroom had me stumbling back in surprise. Whoa. Even his restroom looked impressive. I was afraid of touching anything, fearing I'd accidentally break it and end up paying for it. Glancing around again, I noticed how his countertop seemed to be void of any dental care, hairbrushes, and skincare products, though a few bottles of concealer and an open box of hair dye sat at the corner near the sink. Well, I guess that answers my burning question on whether or not he naturally had pink hair. But now it made me wonder, if Ren does dye his hair, then what was his natural hair color? There were still so many things I didn't know about that soft-looking guy, and I was beginning to question whether coming here was a good idea or not. With a sigh, I decided to not waste any more time thinking about irrelevant things, and instead turn my attention back to the shower. Quickly stripping out of my clothes, I jump into the unnecessarily large glass booth and turn the water on. Glancing at Ren's shelf of, albeit limited, hair and body products, I couldn't help but notice that one brand in particular just so happened to be the exact same as mine. Did we use the same body wash? He didn't really smell like me, but maybe that was because I wasn't paying much attention. I mean, who randomly smells people out of the blue anyway? Shaking my head at such a silly notion, I begin to scrub away the lingering smell of rain from my body and quickly finish washing up. Bundled up in a warm towel, I crack open the large door and poke my head out into the hallway. True to his word, Ren left a small pile of clothing outside the bathroom, neatly stacked and propped against the side of the wall. Bringing the contents back inside, I noticed that one piece of clothing in particular was a rather comfy-looking hoodie. But the design on the front, however, was rather morbid-looking and didn't really suit Ren's vibes. Maybe from a horror film or something? Shrugging my shoulders, I put the hoodie on and instantly get enveloped by the sheer amount of fabric. I mean, it made sense considering Ren's large and lanky frame, but this was just absurd. I had to stifle a laugh from the amusing sight in the fogged-up mirror, but I had to admit that the soft fabric felt nice and warm against my skin. Even the scent that came from it oddly felt comforting somehow. Turning back to the remaining clothes in the pile, I gently pick up the next item and try to put it on. The gray sweatpants didn't seem to fit the length of my legs, despite the number of times I tried to pull up the elastic. But luckily Ren was thoughtful enough to give me other alternatives. The dark pair of shorts seemed like the better option, especially since it came with a drawstring and deep pockets. Once I was fully dressed, I step out of the bathroom and aimlessly walk around until I hear the faint sounds of a TV playing. Feeling curious, I follow the source of the sound down the hallway. Breaking news. A sudden storm hits the bay as gale force winds and knock over street signs and even awnings. Just believe that this sudden change in weather will die down soon, and to stay safe I continue to follow the noise until it suddenly cuts out and changes into a glaring monotone sound, indicating that the television must have lost all signal. And soon enough, I find myself in Ren's spacious lounge room. Aside from the TV, the rest of the lights were off, but I could still make out most of the dark shapes within the room with ease. It was just as ostentatious as the rest of his house, though I couldn't help but feel it lacked any form of life. It just didn't seem like someone actually lived here. The furniture was gaudy yet tasteless. There was hardly any personal decoration or colors, and there was nothing that really screamed Ren to me. There were no personal touches, photos, items, hobbies, nothing. Just tacky furniture and the bland smell of something sterile. If I was being honest, it gave off the same vibe as a dentist's clinic or hospital. Maybe he recently moved in. Who moved in? Oh, we can see the markings on his neck now. Are they supposed to be like tattoos? They're kind of lighter now. Looks like he has like a heart tattoo or something, by his pelvis. We may find that out soon. Surprised by the sudden voice, I spin on my heel, only to find Ren coming out from one of the hallways with a new set of comfy clothing. He seemed much more at ease like this, especially with the gentle expression on his face. I watch as he takes a respectful glance at my attire, before sheepishly averting his attention to the ends of his sleeves. Sorry, that's the only pair of clothing I could find that might fit you. It looks really good on you though. Oh, thanks. You can even keep him if you want. The sound of thunder rumbling in the distance cuts off Ren's mumbling, and I involuntarily step closer to him. Without missing a beat, he reaches out and rests a protective hand on my shoulder to steady me. Ren idly glances out of the window before turning his undivided attention back to me once more, only this time with a determined look. It's really pouring, huh? I could only nod my head at his words, suddenly feeling sheepish all of a sudden. I really should have checked the weather forecast before I went out today. But to be fair, it didn't look as though it had started spontaneously raining when I left my apartment this morning. And I guess I was enjoying my time with Ren to the point where I didn't even realize the weather was turning sour. Angel? Sorry, what did you say? I just asked if you wanted to stay the night here. You know, seeing how hard it's raining out there, and your clothes haven't finished drying yet. It'd be no trouble. I really wouldn't mind at all, but only if you wanna, of course. Staying at his place for the night? Well, this certainly isn't how I expected to end my day. But would it really be that bad? It definitely beats waiting out the storm and walking home with a bunch of puddles everywhere. Oh, what is this? What am I looking at right now? Is this like... I was thinking when the option comes up for me to go home or spend the night, I'm going to make a very poor decision and spend the night. But now I don't know... What is this? We'll choose the weird looking one. Oh, what have I done? Wait, what was that? Did I really want to stay the night at Ren's place? I guess I did. I couldn't really remember otherwise. I guess I could stay, if that's really okay with you. Yeah, of course. It's totally fine. Wow, he was really an energetic, eccentric man, wasn't he? Let me know if you need any more pillows or blankets. Or if the room gets too cold. I haven't worked out how to use the fancy heater system yet, but I can definitely try. Also, you already know where the bathroom is, but if you... Okay, I think I got it, Ren. I shoot him a reassuring smile as I turn to face him at the door. I should have gotten used to his attentive and observant behavior by now, but it still felt like a foreign side of him that I hadn't fully uncovered. Still, at least he wasn't stuttering as much anymore. I know. Sorry. I just want you to be as comfortable as possible, so just treat this house like it's your own. Alright, gotcha. He looks like he doesn't want to leave, and instead lingers in front of the door a little while longer. Are you sure there isn't anything else you need? Anything at all? How will you respond? Holy moly. Am I gonna make bad decisions tonight? Boy, I'm gonna save, I guess, and I'm going to make poor choices. You want to in my room? Did I just say that? I can't keep letting these intrusive thoughts win. I don't mind, but what's wrong with the guest bedroom? He peers behind my head to glance around the room behind me, before sheepishly meeting my gaze once more. Nothing's wrong, I wanted to tease you a little bit is all. How is this impacting my, relationship with him? Where is he? The tits on that man, holy moly. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Alright, well, nothing's really happening yet on this meter. Sorry, I don't really know why I said that. Oh, I see. Don't worry about it then. And to be honest, I kinda enjoy it when you tease me. Well, if everything's okay, I guess I'll let you get some sleep then. Yeah, okay. Alright then. Great. I successfully made the mood completely mortifying again. Good night, Lion. Sweet dreams. Good night. I watch in silence as Ren turns on his heel and makes his way towards his own room down the hall. Shaking my head at his odd behavior, I close the door behind me and slowly make my way towards the bed. I noticed that the Haruko plushie Ren had bought earlier was sitting atop the sheets, and I gently bring it closer to my chest to give it a soft squeeze. So he really did buy this for me after all. The faintest hint of cherry and mint emits from the toy, and makes my mind drift to thoughts of that strange, pink-haired man once more. He was still as odd as usual, but some parts of him were starting to feel rather endearing. I noticed how he was no longer stuttering as much or acting as shy, and it made me wonder if we were getting closer. Not that I really thought about it. How did I feel about Ren? How will you respond? Oh, man. He's not to be trusted, but we like him. Okay, so I guess he was kind of cute and endearing in his own way. Ren was very considerate and attentive towards me today, which I really liked, and he even bought me a plushie without being asked. That instantly raises him from a 4 out of 10 to a solid 7 out of 10. Ren certainly had boyfriend potential, but things were still too awkward between us for it to lead in that direction. But still, it was nice to think about. He was certainly nice to think about. Rolling into my side, I hug the plushie closer so I can be surrounded by his comforting scent and slowly drift off to sleep. Alright, Ren, you gonna walk in? Oh, that's end of day 2? I was expecting something saucy. Well, we're gonna have to find out next time if something saucy occurs, because that's all the time that I have for tonight. Sorry if I'm leaving you all on a cliffhanger here, but, maybe day 3 will open up and, something interesting will occur. But that being said, I do anticipate me going through the rest of the story quite soon. If I recall, there's 4 days total, so we got 2 more days left. I am enjoying this though, and I am looking forward to see how this actually progresses and eventually ends. I don't know if the full story is over yet, so, we'll find out. We'll find out next time, because next time you guys see this video, I'm hoping that I can complete all of the days in one video. That being said, if you did like this video, go ahead and leave it a like, leave a comment, share the video, perhaps even subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all in the next video, so have a good night.